Hello guys, in today's video I'm going to show you how to elytra mace on Bedrock PC. So I feel like a lot of YouTubers show you tutorials on how to do it on Java or Bedrock touchscreen. So I'm just going to show you all my knowledge on how to elytra mace on Bedrock PC keyboard and mouse. So this video is going to be split into a few different parts. So yeah, let's get into the video. So, for those of you who don't know, a default mace on the ground does as much as a stone sword. It has as much attack damage, but as you all probably know, the higher you fall from when you hit a mob, the more damage you do. So it does break your fall, so you don't take any fall damage, but that's just the default mace. I'll get into the enchantments later. So to mace, you need to fall from at least a two block height. So you could just have random block and step on it, and you can mace just jumping off a one block, because you can't just fall off it, because that won't work. But if you jump off just one single block, you're falling from a 2-block height, so you will be able to mace. It won't do a lot of damage, but yes, you can mace from just 2 blocks. If you don't have any wind charges or elytra, which I'll get into later, if you don't have any of that to mace, you can just have one single block, place it, and then mace someone just by jumping off that block really quick. And you don't have to just jump off one block. Of course, you can just stack up wherever you want, and then just jump and deal more damage. If you don't make it, it does a lot of damage. So if you go too high and you miss the mace, you might die of fall damage, so it's kind of a risk. But if you do hit the mace, then it'll do a lot of damage to the mob you're hitting. So just don't try going really high if it's your first time trying to mace. So you can see I have an iron golem here, and that's because I'm going to show you a trick. So you're going to ender pearl teleport at the upper body of the mob, and then you're going to switch to your mace and try to mace it. I have an iron golem because I haven't been able to do it with a villager, because I don't think the villager is tall enough. So I have an iron golem right here. So if you just ender pearl, then you can mace, and he killed me. But you see I maced there. You can do that with taller mobs. I don't think you can do it with mobs like villagers or zombies. At least I haven't been able to do that. Yeah, that's another little trick. But remember, don't try to do it with mobs like the same hitboxes you have. A lot of people use wind charges. They're pretty much just like rocket launchers, but if you throw them under you, you can see I get shot up a few blocks. So they use that to mace, because you get shot up into the air, and then you can use that height to mace. So, but there's a way to get even more height than just shooting it under you. Right as you push right click to throw it, you jump. So you can see I get a lot more height there, but you still don't take fall damage. So this is if I don't jump, and this is if I do jump. It gives you a lot more height. If you wear netherite, it doesn't boost you up as high, so just keep that in mind. So if you want to go really high with wind charges, I would recommend using diamond armor. As you can see, I have a floating villager here, so you need to fall from a 2-block height to mace, but it doesn't need to be above them. So I can just do like this and be right beside them, and it still maces them. And I think you can even do it under them. You you don't need to be on top. You just need to be falling from at least a 2-block height, and then hit them in any direction. And I'll show you also another technique you can use with wind charges. Now I'm gonna show you a technique called pearl catching. It's when you throw an ender pearl way up in the air, and then right after that you throw a wind charge up to it. So the wind charge will collide with the ender pearl, and then it will teleport you way up in the air. If a wind charge collides with an ender pearl, it teleports you to where it collided. So you just throw an ender pearl, then right after throw a wind charge, then you get to mace, and it does a lot of damage. But it also is a big risk. You can see I'm on like 2 hearts, because if you miss, you're falling, so you die or you take a lot of damage. So you can also do this at an angle. You throw the ender pearl and then have your cursor go a little bit farther down, and then throw the wind charge. This is more hard than just throwing it up in the air, but I'm not good at this. Like that, and then I fell from a high place. But so you just you throw your ender pearl, then have your little crosshair thing go a little bit farther down, and then you throw the wind charge. I would just recommend, if you're not consistent at it, don't try it a whole lot, like in PvPs, because you might die if you just throw it up in the air. Then you will take a lot of damage. Okay, so if you want it to be closer to the ground, you just quickly throw your ender pearl, then your wind charge. But if you want to be falling from farther, you throw your ender pearl, wait a little bit, then throw your wind charge. Then you'll teleport way higher, so you can do more damage. So yes, that is pearl catching. So now I will be talking about enchantments for the mace. So these are all the enchantments you can put on the mace. We have obviously Unbreaking 3, you can put Unbreaking 1, 2, and 3. You can put Mending on there. But then we have Windburst. You can have, there's Windburst 1, 2, and 3. So Windburst, what it does is if you enchant it to a mace, normally you would just mace a mob and it would break your fall. But now, and I have a villager with 1,000,000 trillion totems, so now if you have Windburst and you mace someone, you mace a mob, it shoots you up really high. So this, if you have Windburst 1, depending on the level, shoots you farther up. So Windburst 3 is obviously the highest one, so it shoots you up pretty far. So this is also a little bit of a risk, because if you mace someone on survival and then you die of fall damage, that won't be so good. So like if you have a Windburst mace, like bring a water bucket, because it shoots you up pretty far. So now let me get a new mace. So these 3, Breach, Bane of Arthropods, and Density, these 3 can't be put with each other. So these are separate ones. But all 3 of these can be put with Windburst, Unbreaking, and Mending. First, Density. Density just makes the mace even stronger the higher you go. So the higher you go, it does more damage, but the density, it does like even more damage the higher you go. So it pretty much just makes your mace like deals a lot of damage. So Bane of Arthropods, if you put it on, it makes it more deadly for mobs like silverfish, endermites, cave spiders, and spiders. So it, like, you can kill them easier. I pretty much don't ever put it on my mace, because I don't really fight any of those So next there's breach. It comes in 4 levels. So breach obviously can't be put with Bane of Arthropods or density, but it just pretty much makes, if someone's stacked with like armor and you have breach, it pretty much just makes their armor useless. Their armor doesn't protect them. So if sometimes if I'm fighting people with like really stacked armor, I put on breach to like make it easier for me to kill them, but usually I just put on density. So those are pretty much, I think, all the enchantments for the mace. So if you're windburst macing or electromacing, I'll get to that later, I would use density because that does more damage the higher you are. So, and oh, by the way, I'm not gonna cover attribute swapping in this video. So yeah, I don't really use breach unless if you see like a really stacked player with fully enchanted armor, maybe. But usually if you're macing, like, density is the way to go. I would definitely use windburst. My mace that I use would have unbreaking, mending, windburst, and density, because if you are without windburst, you kind of just like you mace and you're just on the ground. But with windburst, like, let me show you. So if you enchant it with windburst, you can whack them and you can do combos, so you can use that height you got and just keep on whacking them, popping their totems and just killing them. So that's pretty helpful when you're PvPing. You can do like some pretty deadly combos with windburst. So I would definitely use that. Now I will show you what you've all been waiting for, probably, electromacing. And after I show you electromacing, I will show you at least the hotkeys I have for electromacing, because you can't do electromacing without hotkeys. Okay, so this Bedrock electromacing can be a little different, more different from Java electromacing. So Java, if you put on your elytra and you start flying, to mace them, you will have to take off your chest plate and then mace them. But Bedrock, you can, like, see I'm flying, but if you just push the jump button, you can just stop flying in midair. On Java, you cannot do that. So instead of have to be taking off your chest plate, take off your chest plate and mace, you can simply just push the jump button, and then you just you push the jump button right before you mace. So I will show you the steps of electromacing. I showed you just the difference between Bedrock and Java, but so first put on your elytra, and you need at least a chest plate and an elytra and rockets, because like, if you have no chest plate and you put on your elytra, you can't take off your elytra. So if you have your chest plate, you can just switch between your elytra and chest plate. So if you put on your elytra, so you fly, and you can just fly all the way until your momentum is gone, and then fly all the way back. But a quicker way to do it is when you fly, you can push the jump button and then turn around. So you fly, push the jump button, turn around, and then push the jump button again to start gliding again. So that is how you stop your momentum. Java, you have to take off your chest plate, take off your elytra, But Bedrock, it's a little bit easier. Just push the space bar or jump button on whatever device you're on. So now to mace, you're gonna just fly, and then you're just gonna, when you're getting close to the mob, you're gonna push the jump button, or if you want to take off your elytra, but push the jump button, switch to your mace, and hit the mob. So right as you're gonna hit the mob, you stop flying and then switch to your mace and whack them. So you can do this the slow way and come in and then do like that, or you can do it like the fast way and shoot back and hit it. So it takes a lot of practicing. You're not going to be consistent with it right away. Now you can do two different kinds of elytra macing. First, you can do like diagonal, like I'm doing, or the harder one you can do up and down, which does way more damage because you're going straight down, but it's harder because instead of having like diagonal, instead of having all this to aim for, you just have the top of his head to aim for. So diagonal does less damage than vertical, but you are probably going to be more consistent with vertical. I'm sorry, horizontal. So I first learned on the horizontal, but like really experts, like high tier ones, like do vertical up and down. So but I would say just start with diagonal. But a thing I have a problem with a lot, I do two diagonal that I don't even mace. I just go completely sideways. So you need to go like kinda, if you're going sideways, you need to kinda go a little bit down. So you can't just go completely sideways because you won't even mace. You need to kinda just go at like a angle down. It's easier than going straight down. Now I will show you how to do combos with elytra macing. So if you do an elytra mace, and then you can start gliding again. So after you do an elytra mace, you can start gliding again, and then stop gliding and mace him again. Or if you're really risky, you can start gliding again and shoot with a rocket back to it. So like if you mace and then shoot back, and you can do like 2 combos or so. So, but that's for that's once you like are good at elytra macing. So, or you could just do the safer way, elytra mace, and then just glide and then stop gliding and just do that. And then you can just do some deadly combos. But it is more like I would recommend to not try to do combos right away because it is pretty hard. Even I sometimes don't do it. But so like you can do some pretty deadly combos with that. Like if you're just combo elytra macing person, they don't even know what's going on, and they can't. It's pretty much impossible to dodge. So, but again, it's really risky and really hard. So now I will show you a little trick that that helps me pretty much always mace the person when I'm wind charge macing. If the person's running away, it's hard to just be trying to move in the air. So what I like to do, I wind charge and then I glide a little bit so I can have more air time. But as you can see, netherite doesn't go nearly as high. But so I wind charge and then I just glide, then stop gliding, then mace. So if a person's running away, I can just glide, stop glide, and just keep doing that for pretty much forever. Like So yes, if you're not really good at like moving, like doing the wind charge mace just like this, you can do it and then hold, remember, hold, like push the jump button to start gliding, then push the jump button again to stop gliding. So yes, that is how you aim better at wind charge macing. So you can kind of use the elytra macing with like the wind charge macing. Now, as you can see, I have the villager like walking around now. So you can also, like, when you're wind charge macing, you can also use like your elytra macing skills to help. So if you're gonna wind charge mace, and then you can like shoot back down and hit them. Sorry, I'm really bad at this, but like do that, and then you can also elytra mace. So like you can do some like, you can just add in elytra macing to your wind charge macing and all that, so you can just be doing combos and stunning them and they don't know what to do. So that's a trick, but it is also, like the elytra mace combos, it is really hard. I will show you how to be better at aiming, which I had a lot of problem with. I could do all the steps, but just aiming at the thing I wanted, at the thing I was targeting was really hard for me. So first of all, if you're, don't just like cruise in, and then because the player, like just like that, the player can just stare at you and then just move a few blocks and then you hit the ground. So don't just be like even if you go fast, don't try to have them like surprised. So if you see them looking at you, try to like go behind them or something to make it like so they can't move as easily, and so they just don't see you coming, and then they just move a few blocks and then you just die of fall damage, because that's really hard. Oh no. And most of it is just you have to practice to get better aim. A lot of it is that, because I had to, and still I don't have perfect aim. So so you just have to practice. It won't take a few days. It might take weeks, I don't know, months. Now, I will show you how to do like short elytra macing. So if your opponent is just over there, you do like that, and it'll be like really short. So you can't just, like, if you're right here, you can't just start gliding like super sideways. You have to kind of like, you have to glide and go a little bit up and then a little bit down and mace them. So like you can do that, especially especially if they're gonna throw an ender pearl. If you see their ender pearl traveling across and you know where it's gonna land, you can just do this, go a little bit up and mace it. So remember, don't just go super sideways. You have to go a little bit up, and then you can mace. So, but that is also kind of hard. But if you mix it in with your PvP, if you're PvPing and then they like throw an ender pearl, or they like run away, you can just do a quick elytra mace, just like a quick elytra mace, and then you start PvPing them again, and it really helps. And now my last part of the video, the hotkeys. So my hotkeys, I know a lot of people have their middle finger on W, and then like they can reach like hotkeys 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe 5. But I like my ring finger. I like my ring finger on W, so I can use my middle finger to access the inventory, which is E, and I use also my middle finger to access the third hotkey. That's why you see me always have my mace in the third slot. And so I have my middle finger on W. My pinky is going to pushing the control so I can sprint, because no one really wants to double tap W. So, and then I have my middle finger can go to hotkey 3, and then I have my my pointer finger can go to hotkey 4. That's how I like pearl catch. I go to hotkey 4. So I pretty much, and I'm not talking about attribute swapping again. So I pretty much just have 3 and 4 hotkeys, and 5. Sometimes I reach my pointer finger over to 5. So sometimes if I'm PvPing, I have like my sword right here. So I know usually people have their middle finger on W, but I like it this way. So you need hotkeys for elytra macing, because if you're doing it, you can't just scroll over to the mace fast enough. You could, but it's a lot harder. So yeah, I recommend hotkeys. I just told you my hotkey setup if you want to do mine, but I think you'll get farther with having your middle finger on W, having all the first 4 slots open. I just am used to these 3 slots open, so yeah, you can choose whatever setup you want. Or you could even just not have hotkeys. That'd be a lot harder, but yeah. So that is pretty much all I know about macing. I know this video was long, but if you made it through, good job. See you in the next video.